Most people think digital stewardship is about what they publish online, their website, their content, their passwords, their reputation.
But what if the bigger threat is what you consume every single day?
Because modern platforms don't just show information anymore. They shape perception, emotion, attention, even identity.
The algorithm learns what captures your focus, then quietly feeds you more of it, more outrage, more urgency, more noise.
And over time, constant exposure changes how you think without you even noticing.
In this episode of the Age of Digital Stewardship, we explore why your attention is part of your digital infrastructure and why unmanaged information environments slowly erode clarity, focus, and decision-making.
Because in the digital age, what controls your attention eventually controls you. So when you look at the internet today, I mean, it is incredibly easy to just obsess over the outbound stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the things you put out into the world.
Yeah.
You manage your profile, you curate your posts, you secure your login credentials.
Right, the external things.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But while you are doing all of that, the digital environment is tirelessly conditioning what happens inside your own head.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is not, a passive library waiting for you to just pull a book from a shelf.
Yeah.
It actively competes for your behavior every single session, every single scroll.
It is a dynamic, highly responsive environment.
Yeah.
And the material we're analyzing today points out that it alters distinct internal areas through this constant inbound input.
Right.
Take your baseline emotions, for instance. Over time, constant exposure entirely shifts your mood and your emotional range.
See, I have to push back on that right away.
Okay, sure.
You are telling me that just like glancing at a trending topic or scanning a feed alters my baseline emotional state.
Yes.
I mean, I know the difference between a random post and objective reality.
Well, you might consciously know the difference, but your nervous system does not.
Really?
Yeah. When you consume a rapid sequence of high threat or, high outrage stimuli, your brain releases a steady drip of cortisol. You do not consciously decide to feel cynical or anxious. Your biology is simply reacting to the environment it is placed in.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
If you live in a digital environment that constantly screams about impending doom, well, your baseline calibration shifts to defensive anxiety.
Which brings up an essential reality check for you listening right now. How many seconds after waking up do you check your phone? Tell us in the comments below.
I bet the answers will be surprising, or maybe not so surprising.
Right. I know it is an automatic reflex for so many people. You open your eyes and boom, you are immediately feeding your nervous system.
Exactly. And beyond emotions, the platforms are reshaping your attention span.
Yeah.
They are fundamentally designed to compete for your focus, and the mechanism is relentless. They measure your scroll velocity.
Wow, they track how fast you scroll.
Oh, yeah. They track micro hesitations, like the fraction of a second you slow down over an image.
That is wild.
They map exactly what holds your gaze, and they use that data to serve you the next optimized hit. This constantly fragments your attention, which severely degrades how long you can hold focus in other entirely unrelated areas of your life.
So if the input is that fragmented, the output, like your thinking and your decision-making, has to suffer.
Completely.
If you only consume fragmented junk, your choices will reflect that fragmentation.
The sheer quality of your decisions depends directly on what you repeatedly consume. And if that consumption goes unchecked, it eventually normalizes specific worldviews.
It normalizes them.
Right. Repeated exposure normalizes perspectives entirely, regardless of whether those perspectives are accurate or completely fabricated.
It is the mere exposure effect playing out on a global scale.
Exactly.
If you see the same narrative presented constantly, it becomes your baseline reality. Okay, let's unpack this. Why is the focus so heavily geared towards these rapid-fire, highly stimulating inputs?
Well,
Why not optimize for things that are, frankly, good for us?
it comes down to the underlying economics of the platforms.
The money.
Always. They are not designed to inform you or make you a wiser person. Their sole objective is to capture focus and maximize the time you spend on the screen.
Right.
The signals they optimize for have very little to do with truth, balance, or clarity. In practice, they prioritize engagement over accuracy.
Yeah.
They choose outrage over nuance, because nuance takes cognitive effort to process. They want retention over understanding and immediate reaction over thoughtful reflection.
I mean, think about it like a restaurant that only serves brightly colored candy.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Right, because it guarantees a quick reaction, completely ignoring nutrition. The algorithm operates the exact same way.
Yes, exactly.
It figures out exactly what flavor of candy or outrage hits your specific psychological triggers,
Yeah.
and then it quietly and relentlessly feeds you more of it.
Until your perception of the entire world is warped by that single manipulated lens.
Yeah, and out in the real world, this outrage is a highly profitable business model.
What's fascinating here is the mechanics of that emotional manipulation perform significantly better than calm, rational thinking.
Because calm doesn't get clicks.
Right. Platforms have discovered through massive amounts of data that anger spreads faster than nuance. Fear directly increases engagement metrics. Conflict keeps users scrolling down the page.
Wow.
Those emotional reactions translate directly into advertising revenue. The platforms monetize your emotional spikes.
Every time you feel that spike of indignation, someone is cashing a check.
Yes.
The result is an environment of manufactured urgency. It leaves users emotionally exhausted, with a highly distorted perception of risk and reality. You start to feel like everything is a crisis everywhere all the time.
Which is why the source material strongly advises that you audit your feed.
Audit it how?
Well, if a platform consistently leaves you anxious or drained after use, that is not a coincidence, that is data.
Right.
You have to mute, unfollow, and intentionally reset your recommendations. You must take control of the algorithm before it fully takes control of you.
We want to hear about your own experiences with this. Has a specific app ever left you feeling completely exhausted without you even leaving the couch? Let us know which one in the comments.
It happens to all of us.
We have all had those moments where we look up from a screen and feel entirely depleted.
And that exhaustion often comes from the sheer volume of input combined with the emotional intensity. Modern users consume endless notifications, fragmented headlines, AI-generated summaries.
It's just an endless stream of short-form content.
Right. People are jumping from a critical work email to a global tragedy to a viral prank and back to a calendar invite dozens of times an hour.
The dangerous part is that we mistakenly believe taking in more information means we are gaining a better understanding of the world.
We really do.
We think scanning 10 headlines across 5 different tabs makes us informed.
But the human brain is simply not built to constantly pivot between completely unrelated, highly stimulating inputs. The biochemical cost of this constant context switching is severe. Every time you shift your attention from a deep task to a notification, a phenomenon called attention residue occurs.
Attention residue.
Yes. Your brain takes an average of 23 minutes to fully recalibrate and return to its previous level of deep focus.
23 minutes.
Yeah.
Just from checking a notification.
Yes. If you check your phone every 15 minutes, you are existing in a perpetual state of cognitive impairment. It leads directly to shallow understanding and poor decision quality.
That is terrifying.
The recommended practice from the source material to counter this is the single input session.
Wait, I have to stop you there.
Okay.
The single input session sounds great in theory, but the modern workplace requires multitasking. I have Slack open, my email pinging, and a shared calendar updating constantly.
Right, the usual setup.
Yeah. If I ignore my team to read one article or focus on one document for an uninterrupted hour, I get fired. How is this practical?
It is not about abandoning your professional responsibilities. It is about recognizing that cognitive context switching carries a tax you cannot afford to pay constantly.
Okay, so how do we do it?
The single input session is a defensive training exercise. You start with 15 minutes. One article, one chapter, one isolated task, entirely without switching contexts.
Just 15 minutes.
Yes, you train your brain to hold its focus on a single narrative or argument from beginning to end, rebuilding the neural pathways required for deep concentration.
And maintaining that single focus is becoming significantly harder because the landscape itself is shifting. We are entering the era of synthetic information.
Oh, this is a massive complicating factor.
Right. AI saturation is changing everything about how we consume data.
Yeah.
We are no longer just dealing with biased human opinions. AI can now generate content at a massive scale.
Articles, videos, comments, reviews.
Images, completely fabricated authority signals, all with almost zero effort.
We are seeing the rise of AI citation loops.
What is that?
Well, an AI generates a false claim on a blog. Another AI-driven news scraper summarizes that blog. Then a third AI cites the scraper as an independent verification.
Oh my goodness.
Within hours, you have a synthetic consensus. For the last 20 years, access to information was the primary challenge.
Right.
Now, access is unlimited. Verification is the new challenge. The massive volume of synthetic content makes source accountability critical. You can no longer assume that seeing is believing.
The key principle outlined in our source material is emotional urgency is often a signal of manipulation, not importance.
Yes, that is so important to remember.
Slow down before you react. If a piece of content makes you feel like you must share it immediately or the world will end, that is a massive red flag.
You must step back and ask the right verification questions before doing anything.
Like what?
Who benefits from this?
Yeah.
Can this be independently verified by a secondary trusted source? Is the original source accountable if they are completely wrong? And does this trigger immediate emotion?
For just taking a breath.
Exactly. Those questions form a vital defensive layer. You are forcing your brain out of its reactive emotional state and pulling it back into its logical, analytical state.
But what happens when we repeatedly fail to run that filter? What happens when this synthetic, emotionally charged content just keeps pouring in day after day, year after year?
This brings us to the concept of accumulated influence. Digital influence does not arrive as a single dramatic event where you suddenly change your mind about everything.
It's gradual.
Very gradual. It accumulates through repetition and emotional conditioning. Repetition normalizes ideas entirely regardless of their origin.
Right.
If you see a fabricated claim 50 times across different synthetic sources, your brain starts to categorize it as familiar. And to the human brain, familiar often feels true.
It creates the illusion of truth. And your emotional responses become calibrated to the tone of your regular inputs.
Yes.
If your feed is constantly aggressive, your baseline reaction to the world becomes more aggressive.
Yes.
Tribal thinking and distorted perceptions spread through sustained, uncritical exposure.
And as the source says, your attention, directed repeatedly in the same direction, slowly becomes your identity.
Wow.
Who you are online and eventually offline is shaped entirely by what you consistently look at.
Before we talk about how to defend your mind, if you want to keep protecting your attention and ensure you never miss the tools we share, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube NCWEBDEV channel right now.
Definitely do that.
Because we are building a system to help you navigate this exact environment. So let us talk about the true cost of all this interruption. Because it goes far beyond just feeling scattered during the workday.
Oh, absolutely.
Modern digital habits, skimming, reacting, endless scrolling, they are completely incompatible with strategic deep thinking.
Because deep thinking requires stillness. It requires sustained cognitive engagement to map complex variables.
You can't do that while distracted.
No, you cannot solve multifaceted problems or do meaningful creative work in 3-minute bursts between notifications. Attention boundaries are a necessary professional discipline.
The source lists specific tactical defenses you can deploy right now. Disable non-essential notifications. If it is not a human being trying to reach you with a time-sensitive message, turn it off.
Yes.
Remove social apps from your home screen to eliminate the automatic muscle memory of opening them. Schedule intentional consumption windows. Decide when you will check the news rather than letting the news interrupt your day.
And keep phones entirely out of your deep work environments.
Right.
Small reductions in availability create immense improvements in clarity. When you remove the constant pings, your brain finally has the space to process information deeply.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Every single input has a cost.
It does. Attention is entirely finite. It is not an endless resource that magically regenerates every time you open a new tab.
Every headline you read, every video you watch, consumes a fraction of your cognitive reserves.
Bad inputs consume your energy and focus. They erode your emotional stability. They drain your creative capacity, leaving you with nothing left for your own ideas. And most importantly, they degrade your decision quality. You cannot make sound, strategic choices when your brain is running on fumes.
So how do we reframe this entire relationship?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, protecting your attention is not avoidance. It is operational discipline.
Operational discipline. I like that.
Think of it like an air-gapped computer network in cybersecurity. Highly sensitive systems are physically isolated from the public internet.
They don't have a wireless connection.
Right. They cannot be accessed from the outside. You have to treat your deepest creative and analytical thinking windows the same way. You must air-gap your mind for a set period.
Treat it like an asset.
You must treat attention as the limited and valuable asset it is. Not all information deserves access to your cognitive resources.
This means stewardship requires actively designing an information environment. It must be a deliberate system, not just a passive habit.
Exactly.
You have to actively filter what you follow, what you verify, and what you allow repeated access to your mind. You are the architect of your digital space.
It requires clearly distinguishing between signal and noise.
What's the difference there?
Well, signal is information that improves decision quality, challenges your assumptions constructively, and deepens your understanding of the world.
Okay.
Noise is information that creates emotional chaos without adding clarity or value.
The rule is incredibly straightforward. Look at what teaches you, and keep and invest in sources that consistently improve your thinking. Then look at what drains you, and relentlessly remove sources that consistently leave you depleted or distorted.
It sounds simple, but it takes rigorous honesty to look at your digital habits and admit which sources, which commentators, and which platforms are merely generating noise.
We want to hear from you on this. What is one noise source you are committing to muting today? Drop it in the comments.
I highly recommend doing that.
Putting it in writing makes it a real commitment to your own cognitive defense.
That commitment is vital because the true danger, is unmanaged exposure. Without intentional stewardship, algorithms will shape your behavior quietly and at an unbelievable scale.
Yeah. Outrage will shape your thinking. Manipulation will shape your perception.
If you do not design your environment with clear intention, platforms will design it for you, and they will optimize it entirely for their own commercial goals, not your well-being.
Technology itself isn't the problem unmanaged exposure is. Stewardship is an ongoing defensive practice. What enters your mind influences everything downstream.
It impacts your decisions, your business outcomes, your personal relationships, and your overall security.
It's all connected.
These dimensions are entirely connected. Your identity online, the systems you rely on, where your focus goes, and how you interpret reality form a single, highly integrated ecosystem.
Digital stewardship is not a one-time audit where you clean up your desktop and call it a day.
No, it is the daily maintenance of your cognitive environment's integrity.
In the next step of this journey, we move from information exposure to operational protection, security stewardship. Because unmanaged systems eventually become vulnerable systems, not through dramatic breaches, but through sustained neglect. If you treated your daily attention like a bank account, how bankrupt is your current information diet making you? And more importantly, who currently holds the combination to the vault in your mind?